y'all, it's Alex and welcome back to my channel. Over here we have day 19 sling, link for that, top corner, as always. Today we have kind of a weird color. Yes, this bottle looks kinda grody, and that's also a piece of kneaded eraser I use to keep them stuck in the same place while I'm doing these shots. But this is actually a custom ink that I mixed myself for Inktober of 2017, I believe, maybe 2018. I know for sure I used this over on my first true video on this account, and I will also link that up there if you guys would like to see the glow up of my setup. This ink is a 3-to-1 mixture of Naphthol Crimson from Liquitex and the Carbon Black, because I couldn't find an acrylic ink that was sufficiently bloody enough for me, so I just decided to make my own. With today's prompt word being tread, we're gonna kind of use the term loosely. I was thinking about continuing on with the kind of Victorian fashion that I've been doing from time to time, though we'll see about this. I might change this up. Let me get a pencil. Zoom you guys in so you can't see my other thumbnails. Let's just go with all right, it's blue, but sorry, that's kind of like off to the bottom corner, but I can only show you guys so much of this page with my other thumbnails over that way. But what I'm thinking is maybe having a witch going hiking. Let me check against my others. I don't want to do anything too close to anything I already have planned for other pieces. I feel like this is leaning a little close to like a mix between wild and overgrown, but for some reason I'm not liking this. I'm also going to look up the definition of tread. So the many definitions of tread are a manner or sound of someone walking, the top surface of a step or stair, and the thick molded part of a vehicle tire that grips the road. Man, I wish I could draw a bike, but I know that I can't draw a bike. So I think we're going to do a modern witch. And I think we're going to do a guy witch today. I'm wondering if it really does matter. I always feel bad when I do too many of the same orientation of piece, one after the other, but I usually see you do videos of portrait layout pieces instead of landscape. Does it matter? Am I putting too much thought into this? Probably. I tend to. But we're gonna go with this one. So about half the time while I'm working on pieces, I have Rosebud sitting right here, trying to get me to pet her. Alright, so now that I have the base outline of my tape done, I'm going to go around with a secondary thing of tape, because I'm almost out of this one, and I like to put extra tape around these edges, just so that way we have a little bit more security. I use a lot of tape, I know, but I can't exactly see another way around it unless I do messy edges on a piece. Shoot, I might do that. That makes sense for a piece in the wilderness. God dang it. I've already used this much tape. I think I'm just gonna tape the edges and leave it at that. And can we just admire how ungodly messy my desk surface has become through the process of this Inktober? It's a little out of hand. We'll see how bad it is once this is all over. Sorry for like the amount of shadows from my tripod also. I'm trying so hard to make better shots, but I think we're gonna give this witch a beard. So chin doesn't exactly matter too much. Feels like he's also missing something, so we're gonna give him some gauges. Since this is more of an adventuring hat, we're gonna make his hat a little shorter and give it these tassels here. Big old eyebrows here. Everything about this guy is turning out very square. I'm gonna try not to make him too much of a Dorito. Gonna give him some beads of sweat on his face. Just make it look like he's been hiking a while. That leg is far too long. Where did my kneaded eraser go? I swear I lose this thing about twice a drawing. I don't know if I like the idea of giving him a shirt tied around his waist. I think we're actually going to give him a plaid, since we have the perfect plaid color for our color of the day. Those legs seem a little too big for how small I made his head. Same with his torso. Waist should be about there. Also, I wanted to make sure that he's actually stepping up instead of kneeling. That looks funky. That arm looks a little funky, but so I'm basically going to give this guy the exact same outfit that I wore for hiking while I was at field camp out in Utah. And this location is actually going to be based off of one of the locations I hiked. So if I put the foot there, I'd need to put the foot a little bit further down for that pose to make sense, but that feels pretty good. Now I just gotta give him big, ridiculous hiking boots. Since we're looking down on top of these rocks, we need to look down on top of these boots as well. Big old thick wool socks. I think we'll give him some cargo shorts as well. The only thing he's breaking protocol for, in at least my book for hiking, is I always hiked with just long pants on, because otherwise when you're going through underbrush, you're just going to be scraping your legs along everything. So I think I'm actually going to give him some scrapes here and there. Nope, I cannot make that a piercing. That doesn't exactly make sense. I think each of his walking sticks is going to have a magical element to them. So the place that I'm kind of basing this scene off of is a place called the Snake Range out in Nevada. I'll have to look up the exact mountain that we hiked up, but we spent about, I'd say, maybe 2 hours hiking up this mountain up to a glacier. And I'll kind of put some pictures here that I took. I don't think I took very many during this trip. I was less focused on taking pictures and more focused on just kind of like enjoying myself, because we'd spent the morning in a cave and I'm claustrophobic as heck. I might also give this guy some arm hair. So I'm going to kind of be basing these trees, or at least this tree, off of what is called a bristlecone pine. And these trees can live next to frickin' forever. Like, I saw a tree while we were there that was easily 4,000 years old, if not older. It's not quite what they look like. And they're definitely not straight. I'm gonna need to erase this part. Something about his face is just a little bit too young. We'll fix that up in a minute. I want to make him look older than he does right now. I'm also gonna kind of put some flat-shaped foliage that I saw. I'm not really gonna give it too much detail. I'm almost gonna make it more like moss. So like there's little chunks coming off of it. I'm just gonna end that branch kind of in a stick. And since these are pines, they've kind of got just needles. They honestly look a little bit more like a spruce in terms of their actual leaves, but we're just gonna make it a pointy boy. And the way that these trees live so long is they grow in these bands, and when part of that band dies, it doesn't affect any of the other bands. So like, most of the tree can be dead, but if there's still parts of it that are living, it'll keep on going. I don't know what I did down here, but we're just gonna Kind of referencing a specific panorama image I have, I'm just gonna kind of steal from it. I mean, it is my image, so... I will do more definition later, but this is gonna be one big wall of talus, and that's kind of just like loose rock, and all of this is supposed to be quartzite, which I will put another image of the quartzite from this specific location here. Probably won't do the banding on all of them, but I want some cool rocks, okay? I don't really get to do geology much in my day-to-day right now, so I'm gonna put in my geology wherever I can manage. This one down here is going to be an actual rock mountain, and then this one here is gonna be tree. So this one's gonna be jaggedy. So this is gonna be an actual path that's over here. So I'm looking up some names for what this boy could be. Yeah, some top choices are Fabian, Gandalf, Ganondorf, George, Gerald, Gwendon, Merlin. You know what? Considering he's touching a tree, we're gonna name this guy Rowan, which is apparently Celtic for tree. A lot of this we're just going to put in as we line art, just some hints of details in places. Alright, let's see if that works. That eye is too low, but it's too late to fix it now, so now we just have to make the other one match. God, I get so much less talkative while I'm working on the line art. I also just realized I didn't give him a backpack. There we go. Nice simple backpack. Maybe continue the hint of it over on this side. Whenever you mess up your line art on a piece where you're out in the wilderness, don't worry, you can just make it look like they got roughed up by nature. Should probably use a ruler for this part here. This is almost 8 centimeters long. That elbow does not look right whatsoever. That hand is also a little rough, but... I feel like he's missing something, so I'm going to give him... I'm gonna give him a compass necklace. I'm gonna put the most details out of his entire outfit on the hiking boots, because the hiking boots are probably the most important part of your entire gear set. Trust me. It is very different walking up a hill in seal-toed work boots versus actual mountain hiking boots. I don't think I'm going to have this kind of like bleeding off of itself anymore. Since we are going with the fact that his name is Rowan and like the tree is of importance, I think we're going to do thicker line art on the tree as well. Don't think it should be the same thickness as the rest of him. So I think we're just gonna go in with a 03 liner. I don't know how much of a difference it'll make in the readability of this piece. I feel like this one is going to be a little hard to read, but we'll see. That is definitely a problem that I've been having with doing these really complicated line arts, is that sometimes it becomes a little too hard to tell what the hell is going on. Wow. All of the things that I did were off screen just now. Woohoo. So all of the stone that's gonna be over here, I'm gonna have to start at the bottom and work my way up. So we're gonna real quick just go in and do the fencing down here. Hello, Too Much Jean. How are you doing? You also have to make it clear where this hill leads. So I think this line, I don't want it to be, I think that line there will be kinda, I think we'll do the plant texture. Again, missing things off camera. I think I'm also going to go around the very edge of this first hill here, just to differentiate it a little bit from the background, because that's all going to be in 01 or 05 as well. You're going to have most of this back here be foliage, with like some chunks of rock interspersed throughout. I'm going to kind of focus on this other background up here a little, just kind of dot in some textures of treetops. Man, now all of this back here makes me wish I would have gotten green for today. However, red forests also sound kind of freaking cool. Do I know when to quit? No. No, I don't. Like, this is only a little ridiculous. I think we're also not going to put any clouds in the sky. It's going to be a perfectly clear day. All right, that's enough texture for back there. I was a little lazy and I probably could put more differentiation through there, but it's kind of too late for that. Gotta work on this area and then line art for over in the tree, and then we are done with the line art stage. So let's keep rocking. I'm just gonna kind of freehand in this. So for anybody who's curious as to how it really happens that there are these big chunks of talus just kind of on the side of slopes, the area that we were hiking in is actually very close to a glacier that is actually up on top of this mountain, and whenever this quartzite, at least from what I recall, whenever this quartzite freezes, which, taking a step back, quartzite is basically metamorphosed sandstone. Whenever this stuff freezes, it starts to cleave itself, and then it just falls off in these massive chunks. And I'm kind of like half referencing this and also kind of just doing my own thing. I'm just kind of get lazy with some of the rock texture back here. So, I know that I put down the tape already. However, I don't want the edge of this to be perfect. We're gonna try something a little new, and we're gonna save all this tape to use most likely tomorrow. So this tape will not go to waste, I hope. It has been scanned in. Let me real quick tape this piece down to the desk so that way it doesn't scoot around too much while I'm working on it. Since both of these are also acrylic inks, we don't have to be careful about which one we go in with first. So I'm thinking of going into all the places that I know for sure I want to use the darkest tone of this ink. And then we'll work ourselves to lighter and lighter shades, and then we'll get to gray. Got a little bit outside the lines on his nails there. Also, his hat is going to be this color. And I think his shoes are also going to be this color. I actually have hiking boots that are almost this color. Now this color does dry a lot dustier than I like. I like this color a lot more when it's still wet, but there's only so much you can do, you know? I'm gonna also do a second layer on the bottom of the hat just to give it some shadow, and also the shadow along this side. This piece is gonna give a new definition to redwoods, right? I think the compass needle is also gonna be red, and the grips of these. Before I go into some of these places, I might have to pull back in an eraser because it didn't erase that well. I might have to go back over the shoelaces here, but at least the ink is gonna tone down all of the stitching. Why don't we lighten up this ink a little bit? Because I think that's all that I want to do in this full color. Here's hoping that stays. I think we're going to make his shirt almost this same color, maybe a little darker. That's right, I also wanted to do his shirt as a plaid. We'll probably do all of the black stripes first and then go back in with the red ink later, so we'll just leave that for last. I'm going to make a really diluted wash to be able to do blushing on his cheeks. Also got a little sunburn, but then again, with red hair, it's probably pretty easy for him to get sunburnt. We're actually gonna lean into that. I want his facial hair to be a little darker. Actually, all of his hair. We're just gonna darken him up a little. And we'll have to go back in at some point and add the shading from the hat, but we'll do that in gray. So let's test out colors for... Oh, we need to continue blushing him. Remember, children, or people who probably also my age, or people who are older than me and also watch. Listen, I don't have demographics for my channel yet. Put on your sunscreen. I very rarely get sunburnt on the fronts of my legs. I always get sunburn on the backs of my legs. I mostly experienced that while I was at band camp, but definitely got a little bit during field camp. Now we're going to go in, I believe, with the color that I did all of this in. So we're gonna use this for the tree. I'm gonna test this area real quick. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna do all of these smaller areas with a smaller brush and then go in with a big brush for the rest of it. Thinking also of doing the smoke in a pink. I'm sorry, technically it is light red. So I believe that's all the sections I'm going to do with this smaller brush. Let's go in with a larger brush and just kind of like knock out the entire tree there. Pretty large brush. Then just... So drawing this brush a little bit, I'm just gonna kind of scrape along here. I'm just gonna use my finger to dab in some places to give it a little bit more random texture. I definitely use my fingers a lot when I'm painting. I've noticed that through the course of this challenge. This also is going to be the color that I'm going to go in for these back here. I want to make sure that this edge up here isn't too perfect, because this looks a little bit too even. All right, I need to put a little bit more into this line art when it's done drying, because it's a little hard to read as is. Black backpack, dark red shirt with black plaid, gray pants, gray stone. I think I want all of the foliage to have some sort of pink tone to it. So all of these fluffy bushes are gonna be a very light pink. That's actually almost too dark. That's better. I think I'm gonna make all of these trees dark since we have the dark leaves there. I think that means we're gonna do a pink sky because we've got pink tones, gray, gray. I want something different up here. So this same super light pink. I need a bigger brush. It might have had a little bit of gray on it. Oh yeah, that definitely had gray in it. That's not great. Gray. I'm gonna quickly mix up some more ink. We'll have that little line in the sky, but that's fine. Gotta get out all of our ink washes. So starting down here with these rocks, I want to do a pretty light color for all of this stone down here. I'll probably go in with the number 2, and then all of this over here will be with number 1. I immediately went into number 1, so I guess we're doing the number 1 first. And I think we're just going to leave the path white. And then go in with a little bit of number 2 to pick out details. Maybe make some stones a little darker. I should probably switch over to a smaller brush for some parts of it, but I'm just going to power my way through. While we're waiting for all of this to dry, well, we'll put in some hints of darker colors here and there. I'm gonna go with the darker one on this rock. I think I'm just gonna make this one darker. Since they're, you know, rocks, I don't want them to be too perfect. So we're gonna go through and kind of make like some splatters, some blotches. And also, he's gotta have a shadow. Gonna add a little bit more definition here, where I'd planned there would be another branch coming off. You know, I think I'm gonna go through that entire tree here and give it some thicker line art. It just doesn't feel right. That's a little better. Maybe we should start with the trees back here so that way we can figure out what colors we're gonna do for everything else. We haven't used the number 5 wash yet, so let's go in with this. It might just be the fact that I've been staring at nothing but pink for too long, but laying down this ink wash, it almost looks green? It's the sensory deprivation, I think. Oh, I really should have laid down some water before I started working on this section. Keep meaning to try it, but keep forgetting. God, what day did you recommend that to me on? Like day 9? And now we're officially on day 20. We are 11 from the end. Here's hoping I managed to make it through all of these pieces. There's gonna be a line here. Dang it. So I will fully admit that working on this piece is what made yesterday's piece so late. I'm betting that I won't be able to get this one up until very late in the evening. But I didn't expect that this piece was going to be so complicated. I never expect my pieces to get complicated. I used to make simple pieces. Not that this is a bad thing, it just makes it a lot harder to judge how much time I will spend on things. Because back when I first started my channel, my pieces took on average maybe an hour. Now on average they take me about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I've definitely become more detail oriented since. Super dangerous to flick ink without really having anything to block stray spatter, but I'm just trying to give some texture to these trees. Oh wow, my sun directions are not consistent whatsoever. Crap. So now that we have everything behind him more or less done and I can actually put my hand down, let's do some shadows. The number 2 doesn't seem to be dark enough. We're gonna go with a number 3 for most of this. So it's been a while since I've drawn plaid. The last time I did plaid was for a series that I've been meaning to continue. I've been wanting to do an entire decade series. I've only done, I think it was the 1870s. This plaid is turning out kind of meh, but that's fine. I think we might actually leave it as just a black and white plaid, because we have a lot of red going on already, even though we do have the perfect color for plaid. Doesn't look too bad. Now we have to do the other side while this side is still wet. So, bad choices on my part. This plaid requires the utmost concentration, apparently. I had really nice thin lines on this side. I'm having such trouble getting them thin on this side. Wow, this arm is a lot longer than this one, and that's gonna bug me now. Last thing to do are the poles and the socks, and also eye shines. Poles are going to be almost the exact same color as his shirt. Oh, I also need to do some shadows on his clothes once they're dry. And also on him. I haven't done any shadowing on him. For the socks, we'll make them fun. A guy can mix patterns if he wants to. I'm gonna add in some scratch marks from foliage along his legs and arms. Some little fixes here and there. And I think I'm going to leave the soles of the boots white, except for maybe like some splotches of dirt. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me work on this piece. Tomorrow's prompt word is treasure, and I hope to see you guys then. If you feel so inclined, hit that subscribe button and check me out on my other social media handles. Thanks, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.